Hello, goddesses. I'm just taking care of a few housekeeping things before we get started for today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Noonday message. I am Dee Sevlar, your goddess whisperer, and I am hoping to whisper to the goddess inside each of you and help her to come to radiant life as we take a break, a pause at noonday in order to refresh ourselves and to allow ourselves to work with our shadow at noontime. So let's take this moment for a sacred pause. Breathe deeply in through the nose, out through the mouth. Place your hands on your body wherever you feel comfortable. My preferred position is with the left hand on the heart, the right hand on the womb, and just center yourself in this place for a moment. And let us affirm for today, I call my shadows into the light of awareness. I call my shadows into the light of awareness. I call my shadows into the light of awareness. And today we're going to explore the power of naming what lives in the shadows. Okay. I think we all know that giving something a name, giving something an identity gives it power. And so we want to be able to name those things that we are finding in our shadows because they are powerful. They're not dark, they're not evil, they're not hidden from us for nefarious reasons. They are simply the shadows that we don't acknowledge in the light of our everyday existence. Okay? And shadows thrive in silence. They grow in the dark when we avoid them or leave them unnamed. But the moment we name them, we reclaim our power. Okay? So for a minute, think of fear, right? When we don't name what we're afraid of, it looms so large, like a monster, right? It is so big and so powerful sometimes that we have our fight, flight, or freeze response to those perceived dangers in our life. But when we start to name what we fear, we reclaim our power and we allow the fear that we have to be incorporated into ourselves so that we are no longer frightened by the thing that gave us fear, right? We allow ourselves to recognize it as something that is not a stranger to us. For example, if you have a fear of failure, I think everybody to some degree may have that fear of failure. I'm going to start out something new, I'm going to try it out, but I'm afraid of how it will come out. I don't have, even if I have a crystal ball, which I do, I don't have that kind of insight into knowing how everything will turn out. So therefore, there's a bit of trepidation as I move forward and a bit of fear as I move forward. But when you can specify what that fear is, not just a generalized fear of failure, but a specific fear that you're harboring, that you're telling yourself about, a story that you're telling yourself about. Like, if I don't hustle, I won't make any money, right? Or if I'm not productive 24 hours a day, then I'm doing something wrong. And it's selfish of me to seek quiet and contentment when I could be doing something else that would lead toward some other outcome other than just preserving my peace, right? When we name our fears, then we can work with them to alleviate them and to recognize that half the time the things that we fear really are not that horrible. They're not that monstrous. They're not that big. They're not that powerful over us. And it's that we that have power over them. We have power over what we fear. So I want to tell you a little story about myself, which some of you may know and some of you may not. But I have always been, ever since I was young, a great procrastinator. I was what my grandmother used to call a last minute Annie. I would always wait to the last minute to get anything done. And then, I mean, I would do it wonderfully, brilliantly, whatever, but it was always at the last moment, at that last moment where you know, like either you have to do it now or it's not getting done. Okay. And for me, I think that gave me a sense of urgency, a sense of excitement. You know, I always love, even when I was writing, I would never plot things out because that seemed to be too much structure. So that I could get some done here, some done here, some done here, and have a progress over time. It was always in the last minute. You just sit down and write the whole book in 3 days, whatever. And I think part of that procrastination was the idea that if I don't like plot the whole thing out, if I don't, I want to fly by my spirit, whatever the spirit moves me to do, whatever I feel called to do, that's what I'm going to do. And I think that can sometimes be a trap because then you're always stuck at that last minute, right? So that whatever you put out, whatever you can accomplish in that short time you've left yourself, whether it's your best work or not, you don't have any time to change it, adapt it, work with it, whatever. This is going to be it. And so, even though I was very successful doing things that way, it really didn't address the fear that I had, which was if I give it my full all, I give it my full time, if I give it everything I've got, and then it still isn't good enough, what does that say about me? Right? So if I can slapdash it together and still do just as great a job as I was doing before, what's the problem? Well, number one, you get burnt out that way a lot. And it's not a sustainable practice because sooner or later you get behind in everything you're doing, and then everything is not, at the nick of time, it's after time, it's late. And so this is something that I have worked on in myself, being able to plot and plan a little bit more, to map out the things that I'm doing, even to things like today where I'm speaking, mapping out what I want to say before I sit down to say it. So everything that I do is not just like off the cuff, but is really well thought out and planned long before I'm able to sit down and bring something to you so that you are getting the best of me right now. Or I hope that is the best of me right now. So when you think about what is the specific fear that you're having, then you can address it. Then you can change it. You can adapt it. And then the fear that you were having doesn't loom so large in your life, and you're able to adapt and to control your behavior to ameliorate whatever it was that you were fearing in the first place. So I really hope that you'll be able to see this as a gift, that fear can be a gift to you that can point you in the direction of what you need to incorporate into your life to make it better. Okay. So I invite you to reflect a little bit right now and just take a breath and let's ease ourselves a little bit into a quieter energy. And feel into your physical, your emotional, your mental, your spiritual bodies, wherever it is you're going to find this. And think about or feel about what emotions or patterns feel like shadows in your life. Are you like me who use procrastination as a way to stave off fear, right? Or is there some other emotion that comes to the fore that you know You're allowing to mask that fear that you are feeling inside. Maybe you get angry, jealous, you experience self doubt or imposter syndrome, or you resort to perfectionism where nothing is right unless it's completely and totally right, which never ever happens. Okay. Are you fearing some form of rejection or the need to control? Or worse yet, especially for us goddesspreneurs out there, the habit of hiding. And I have to say, that was one of my biggest coping mechanisms for a long time. Even though I was an author, I was out there in the world. I mean, there were times when I would go places and people would recognize me as an author. So I was visible, but I was still hiding in some ways. So is that what you are doing in your life? Are you wanting to move forward in some direction, but you're afraid to be visible about it? What will people say if I do X, Y, or Z? Right? What will people think about me if I do the thing I really want to do? And most people, I'm going to tell you the truth, are not even thinking about you. And those people who are judgmental enough to have something to say about it probably are not the best people to have in your innermost circle. Because we always want people who are there to uplift us and support us, even if they don't agree with us, to point us maybe in the right direction without harsh criticism. So if you've got those judgmental people um, right there in your life, maybe it's time to reevaluate that. So I just want you to take a moment as we were talking about all these different emotions and see what name comes up for you and claim it. That's okay to claim it and to say, this is what I'm experiencing right now. But it doesn't have to be. Okay. We can claim it, but also make it temporary. I'm going to accept this idea for today that I maybe I procrastinate a little bit too much out of fear, or maybe I'm hiding a little bit too much out of fear. But I can change that. You can change anything that you wish to in your life. Okay. But then notice how it feels in your body when you find that fear and that you can name it. Where do you feel that in your body? Does acknowledging it make it feel lighter or heavier? But know this, no matter what your body's reaction is to this, naming things brings us closer to the truth, and the truth sets us free. So here we go. This is what I want you to do today for your practice. Okay? Write a list of emotions, fears, or patterns that you feel are shadows in your life. Don't censor yourself. Don't, think, well, is this true? No, just write it down. Because when you're making a list, you can always go back and say, yeah, this is not really true. Or, I'm not really feeling this. I just wrote it down because it occurred to me, but it's not really true for me. It doesn't matter. Write down whatever comes to you. You can edit yourself later. Don't judge what comes out. Just name what comes out. Write it on a piece of paper so that you can see it and it's no longer something that is hidden from you. It's no longer something in the dark corners of your mind. It's something that is right out in front in your consciousness. Okay? And remember, you are stronger than anything hidden in your shadows. In fact, most of your strength comes from those things hidden in your shadows. They are not there to hurt you, they are there to protect you and to bolster you up and to guide you, even if you're not really sure what it is that's hidden there. But by acknowledging it, by examining it, and that's why we do shadow work, to acknowledge and examine those things that are not in our conscious everyday mind, but are part of us, part of our subconscious. Um, by doing that, we find our truth, and our truth sets us free. So, Goddess, here is my final blessing for you today. May you walk today with courage, clarity, and compassion. May you remember that the shadows do not define you. They only wait for you to bring them into the light of your consciousness. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I will see you tomorrow right here at the, oh, actually, no, not tomorrow because today's Friday, but on Monday, right here at the Noonday Message. If you would like to share any of your insights about yourself in the comments, please do. And I look forward to reading them. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time.